Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive into Understanding the Body by Joseph Aminian.
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
I know, right? I was so excited to dig into this one. It's all about holistic health and blends ancient wisdom with modern science.
Yeah, I was really impressed by how a minion takes something as complex as the human body and makes it accessible to everyone.
Totally. It's not just about memorizing a bunch of anatomical terms, it's about understanding the connections.
Right, like how everything's intertwined. It's not just a collection of separate parts. It's this amazing system where everything influences everything else. And he really emphasizes the importance of the gut microbiome, which I think is often overlooked.
Oh, absolutely. He calls it the core of health, and I never really thought about it that way before.
It's so true, though. The book breaks down how each organ plays a role in digestion, starting from the mouth all the way to the large intestine. And speaking of the gut, one of the things that blew my mind was the sheer size of the small intestine.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. It's wild.
Like, did you know that if you were to spread it all out, the surface area of the small intestine would be larger than a tennis court?
Seriously? No way.
It's all thanks to these tiny little finger-like projections called villi and microvilli, which maximize the surface area for nutrient absorption.
That's incredible. It makes sense, though. Like, how else could we possibly absorb all the nutrients we need from food?
Right. It's like our body is designed for optimal efficiency. And that's why digestion is so important. When our digestive system is functioning properly, we have more energy, our mood is better, and we just feel healthier overall.
It's all connected, but, the book doesn't just focus on the science. It also delves into these ancient healing practices like Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine.
Exactly. And that's where it gets really interesting. Armenian shows how these ancient systems have so much to offer in terms of understanding our bodies and maintaining balance.
I have to admit, I've always been a little skeptical of those practices.
I get it. They can seem a bit mysterious at first, but Armenian does a great job of explaining them in a way that's both insightful and practical. For example, Ayurveda emphasizes the importance of understanding your dosha.
I've heard of doshas, but to be honest, it always seemed a bit too mystical for me.
Well, think of it this way. It's like a blueprint of your mind-body type. It helps you understand your unique constitution and make choices that are aligned with your individual needs.
Okay, so it's more like personalized guidance, not just some vague spiritual concept.
Exactly. And what's really cool is that modern science is actually starting to validate many of these ancient principles.
Really? That's fascinating.
It is. For instance, turmeric, which has been used in Ayurveda for centuries, is now being recognized for its anti-inflammatory properties. And acupuncture, a key component of traditional Chinese medicine, is increasingly being accepted as an effective treatment for pain management.
So it's not about choosing one system over the other. It's about finding the connections and using both ancient wisdom and modern science to improve our well-being.
Exactly. It's about integrating the best of both worlds.
I love that. And speaking of integration, the book also emphasizes the importance of simple daily routines.
Yes. Little things that you can easily incorporate into your life to make a big difference. Things like morning rituals, mindful breaks throughout the day, and a relaxing wind-down routine before bed.
I think those are so important, especially in our busy, always-on world. We often neglect those simple self-care practices, but they can have a huge impact on our overall health and well-being.
I couldn't agree more. It's about taking a proactive approach to our health and making choices that support our body's natural ability to heal and thrive.
And the book even delves into different exercise options, right?
It does. And what I appreciate is that it goes beyond just the typical gym workout. It talks about finding activities that you enjoy and that fit into your lifestyle.
So whether it's dancing, swimming, hiking, or just taking a walk in nature, it's about moving your body in ways that feel good.
Precisely. And the book also highlights the importance of getting enough sleep. I mean, we all know how crucial sleep is, but sometimes we just don't prioritize it.
I know I'm guilty of that. But you know what? I'm going to try to be more mindful about my sleep habits.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sleep is like a reset button for our bodies. It allows our systems to repair and recharge so we can wake up feeling refreshed and energized.
It's essential for everything. But one of the most mind-blowing parts of the book for me was the section on the microbiome.
Oh, definitely. It's a real game changer in how we understand health.
Right. Like, I knew it was important for digestion, but I had no idea just how much influence it has on our overall health.
And the fact that we have trillions of these microorganisms living inside us is just incredible.
The book mentions that the ratio of microbial cells to human cells in our body is nearly 1.1.
It's amazing. It's like we're walking ecosystems.
And to think all this time I've just been focused on taking care of myself, but it's really about taking care of all those tiny little creatures that are part of me too.
It really makes you reconsider your choices, doesn't it? Like what you eat, how you manage stress, even the medications you take.
It's all interconnected.
And that's why the book emphasizes the importance of making choices that support a healthy gut microbiome. And you know what? We're going to delve even deeper into that fascinating world after a quick break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about how our lifestyle choices can impact this incredible world of bacteria living in our gut.
It's true. It really makes you think about the ripple effects of everything we do, doesn't it?
Totally. So let's talk about what we can actually do to support a healthy gut microbiome. The book mentions diet being a big factor, right?
Absolutely. And one of the key things the book emphasizes is fiber. You know, the stuff we can't actually digest ourselves.
Right. I remember learning about that in school. But if we can't digest it, why is it so important for our gut?
Well, even though we can't break down fiber, the good bacteria in our gut can. And when they do, they produce these amazing compounds called short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs for short.
SCFAs. Got it. But what's so special about them? What do they do?
Oh, they do so much. They provide energy for our cells, help reduce inflammation in the gut, and some research even suggests they might play a role in protecting against certain chronic diseases.
Wow, they're like tiny little superheroes living in our gut.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And they're just waiting for us to feed them the right stuff.
So how do we make sure those little guys are getting enough fiber?
Well, it's all about eating a variety of plant-based foods. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, all of those are packed with fiber.
So basically, all the good stuff. And I have to say, I used to think of fiber as just being important for, keeping things moving regularly.
I think a lot of people do. But the book really opened my eyes to the bigger picture. It's not just about regularity, it's about nourishing our gut microbiome and promoting overall health and well-being.
And it's amazing how this connects back to those ancient traditions we were talking about earlier.
Right. Many of them emphasize the importance of eating whole, unprocessed foods, which are naturally higher in fiber. It's like they knew intuitively what science is now confirming.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Like we have this ancient wisdom that's been passed down for generations, and now modern science is catching up and proving it right.
It's incredible. And, speaking of things that can disrupt the gut microbiome, the book also mentions antibiotics. I know they're important for fighting infections, but can they have a negative impact on our gut bacteria?
That's a good question. And it's something I've always wondered about because I know antibiotics are designed to kill bacteria. So do they differentiate between the good and the bad?
Unfortunately, not always. While antibiotics can be life-saving in some cases, they can also wipe out some of the beneficial bacteria in our gut, which can lead to that imbalance we were talking about earlier, dysbiosis.
Right. And we learned that dysbiosis can contribute to all sorts of health issues. So what can we do to protect our gut health when we have to take antibiotics?
Well, the book talks about the importance of probiotics, which are basically live, beneficial bacteria that can help restore balance to the gut microbiome.
Probiotics. Okay. I've seen those in the grocery store, those little yogurt drinks and supplements. So are you saying those actually work?
Well, there's a lot of research being done on probiotics, and it's a complex topic. But in general, probiotics can be helpful in replenishing the good bacteria in our gut, especially after a course of antibiotics. And you can also find them naturally in fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, things like that.
So eating fermented foods is like giving our gut a dose of good bacteria.
Exactly. And the book also talks about prebiotics, which are basically food for the good bacteria in our gut.
Oh, right. Prebiotics. So they're like fertilizer for our microbiome.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And you can find prebiotics in foods like garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, even bananas.
So it's like a two-pronged approach. We replenish the good bacteria with probiotics, and then we nourish them with prebiotics.
Exactly. It's all about creating a healthy environment for those beneficial bacteria to thrive in. And it's not just about what we eat either. The book highlights the importance of lifestyle factors too, like stress and sleep.
Stress. Yeah, I can definitely see how that could impact our gut. When I'm stressed, my stomach is usually the first thing to act up. But what about sleep? How does that tie into gut health?
Well, when we don't get enough sleep, it disrupts our body's natural rhythms, including the rhythms of our gut bacteria. This can lead to changes in the composition of the microbiome and contribute to digestive issues. And it's not just the amount of sleep we get, it's the quality of sleep too.
So it's not just about hitting the snooze button a couple of times. We need to create a healthy sleep environment, a regular sleep schedule, and avoid things that disrupt our sleep, like caffeine or alcohol before bed.
Exactly. Good sleep hygiene is essential for overall health, including gut health. And you know what else is great for our gut? Exercise.
Oh, exercise. Yeah, of course, that makes sense. But how does it actually affect the gut microbiome?
Well, research shows that regular physical activity increases the diversity and abundance of beneficial bacteria in the gut. It also helps improve gut motility, which basically means it keeps things moving smoothly through the digestive tract.
So exercise is like a probiotic workout for our gut. I love it.
I know, it's pretty amazing. And it helps reduce stress, too, which we know is good for the gut. So win-win all around.
This is all so fascinating, but it can feel a little overwhelming too. Like, where do we even begin to apply all this knowledge?
You're right, it can be a lot to take in. But the good news is you don't have to do everything at once. The book emphasizes starting small and making gradual changes.
So it's about being kind to ourselves and taking one step at a time.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a race. And the first step is awareness. Just becoming aware of your current habits and identifying areas where you might want to make some improvements.
So like taking an honest look at what we're eating, how much we're sleeping, how well we're managing stress.
Exactly. And then from there, setting small, achievable goals. For example, if you're not eating a lot of fiber, maybe try adding one extra serving of fruits or vegetables to your meals each day. Or if you're not getting enough sleep, try going to bed 15 minutes earlier each night. Little things like that can really make a difference over time.
I love that. Small changes, big impact. And, I think sometimes we get so caught up in trying to be perfect that we end up doing nothing at all.
It's so true. And that's why the book emphasizes progress over perfection. It's okay to slip up. We're all human. The key is to keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep striving to make choices that support our health.
I think that's a great message for everyone. It's about being kind to ourselves, being patient with ourselves, and celebrating our progress along the way.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are tons of resources available to support you. Online communities, books, podcasts, even integrative health practitioners. Find what works for you and reach out for support when you need it.
It's about building a community and learning from each other. And speaking of learning, the book delves into some really fascinating stuff about the future of healthcare, especially when it comes to integrative medicine. And we're going to explore that right after this. We're back and ready to dive into the future of healthcare. This last part of the book really got me thinking about what's possible when we combine ancient wisdom with cutting-edge science.
It's exciting, isn't it? The potential is huge.
Totally. Before the break, we were talking about how understanding the gut microbiome is already changing things, but the book goes even further and talks about things like personalized treatments and even digital twins.
Yeah, digital twins. I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Right, but apparently it's becoming a reality. What exactly is a digital twin anyway?
Well, imagine having a virtual replica of your own body, like a digital avatar, but way more advanced. Doctors could use it to simulate different treatments and see how your body might respond.
So they could run virtual experiments before trying anything in real life.
Exactly. It would help them figure out the most effective and personalized treatment for each patient.
Wow, that's mind-blowing. So instead of a one-size-fits-all approach, we could have treatments tailored to our individual needs.
That's the idea. It's about moving away from that one-size-fits-all model and embracing a more personalized approach to healthcare.
I love that. It just makes so much sense, right? We're all unique individuals, and what works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. And by considering all those individual factors, genetics, lifestyle, environment, even the gut microbiome, we can create more targeted and effective treatments.
That's incredible, but I'm guessing there are still some challenges to overcome before these kinds of treatments become mainstream.
Oh, for sure. One of the biggest challenges is the need for more research.
Yeah, we need that scientific evidence to back up these new approaches.
Right. And there's also the challenge of bridging the gap between different healthcare disciplines. Getting conventional doctors, traditional healers, nutritionists, and everyone else to work together.
It's about breaking down those silos and creating a more integrated system of care.
Exactly. And education is a big part of it, too. We need to raise awareness and understanding of integrative medicine so that both healthcare providers and the public are on board.
It's a whole paradigm shift, isn't it? It's not just about new technologies and treatments. It's about changing the way we think about health and healthcare.
It is. It's about seeing the whole person, not just the disease. It's about empowering individuals to take an active role in their own health. And it's about recognizing that ancient wisdom and modern science can work together to create a more holistic and effective approach to healing.
So inspiring. But let's bring it back to the present for a minute. What can our listeners do today to start incorporating these principles into their own lives?
It really starts with that self-awareness we were talking about earlier. Pay attention to your body, listen to its signals, and make choices that support your overall well-being.
So it's about tuning into our own inner wisdom.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment. Try different things. See what works for you. Whether it was yoga, meditation, acupuncture, dietary changes, there are so many paths to explore.
It's a journey of self-discovery, isn't it? And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Reach out to others, connect with like-minded people, find practitioners who resonate with you, build your support system.
That's great advice. And, as we wrap up this deep dive into understanding the body, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we have so much more power over our health than we realize. It's not just about genes or luck. It's about the choices we make every single day.
I completely agree. It's been an incredible journey exploring this book, and I have to say, I'm feeling pretty empowered right now.
Me too. It's been a pleasure sharing this conversation with you.
The pleasure was all mine. And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of holistic health. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep taking good care of yourselves. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.